What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Therapist Logan Reacts. Today we are doing another reaction video to another character from Stranger Things. We're going to start doing those fun little breakdowns of different shows too. I think I'm going to explore different breakdowns. I've done a little anime in the past that was so if you haven't checked out or you're interested in those, go check those out. Those are on my page. There's a little bit farther back, so you might have to look them up. But yeah, go check those out. But today we are doing another super important character, definitely one of the main ones that has had a lot of airtime, and kind of, again, just breaking down the different components that is within the show. So today we are going to do kind of a little deep dive into none other than Will Byers. So a lot of deep things, a lot of components, a lot of factors that come into play here. So the reason I wanted to do Will is because there was a lot of components that was very much seen in this season. You know, there's a lot of components that have been shown, a lot of different factors, a lot of experiences, a lot of different things that play a role in kind of the development of all of these youths and children and young men. But precisely, I really wanted to pinpoint these ones and just the importance of it. So Will in the show has gone through extensive experience, being kidnapped at a very young age, having PTSD, similar symptoms when it comes to the experience that he had while he was in the Upside Down. And again, just having had those things makes this all the more complex when it comes to how dealing with certain situations. So I don't want to get too much into the PTS part, but I really want to focus on identity. Identity is the biggest one that really kind of comes to mind when it comes to who he's becoming, how it was pertinent. And we saw a little bit of this kind of through and through, but definitely really important factors kind of in season 4 and 5. So again, with this idea of PTSD kind of being a factor, I'm going to kind of reference that a little bit, but not too much in detail. And again, dealing with identity, we see a lot of the times that he holds onto this idea, this very infantile, this very older idea of what a childlike persona that he had kind of growing up, and that was in the D&D game that they play constantly, and that I believe his name was Will the Wise. If I remember correctly, he kind of references it throughout the shows and the different seasons, and he talks about how that individual would have gone through something. So he really holds on to that thing because that's a structured identity. That's something that doesn't have to change because it's all made up in their mind. The constructs that are made up are completely confined by what was perceived by the group. And that character, Will the Wise, doesn't really have to change all that much in the story. It's a story for a reason, and he has the characteristics, the attributes, the different components that are kind of already set, and it's kind of a way to kind of escape for him. And I think as he is progressing through the different seasons, I think he's struggling a lot with identity. Most importantly, his sexual identity. So here we see in season 4, volume 2, there was a instance where he is talking to his best friend Mike. And in season 5, again, spoilers alert, if you haven't realized that by now, I apologize, but click off now if you haven't seen season 5 as well. I'm talking about everything up into the most recent that's been shared. So in season 4, volume 2, he is talking about Elle and Mike's relationship and connection, but it begins to kind of have some overlap in between, and it sounds more like Will is describing his perspective more than Elle's. Just because, again, growing up with this individual, they've seen each other grow. So it's natural for Will to find a connection. You know, he's struggling with his sexual identity. He doesn't really understand what's kind of going on, you know, and he doesn't really have anything to base it off of. There's not really a lot of representation kind of around. And this is supposed to be taking place, I think, in the 1980s too. So it was kind of taboo to talk about. It was really not really, it was definitely growing, but just something that was not widely accepted as it is today. So it's just, again, that struggle alone too, kind of in the zeitgeist, if you are aware what that is. It's just that also plays a factor in him being able to recognize his sexual identity. But I'm going to play this clip just to show you. He's talking about the love that Mike and 11 have, and just see it. You can kind of see it in his face. He kind of ends up looking away in some components, and even Will's brother recognizes what's kind of going on, and I think Stranger Things, the directors do such a good job at kind of having those underlying factors that the older individuals recognize what's going on, and there's an acceptance in that. But again, even still, they play it well that if this were to happen even back then, they really wouldn't talk about it all that much. There's maybe more of an acceptance when it comes across the board, but because it's family. But again, it's not really a discussion point or something really talked about. But yeah, so let's jump right into it, and again, we'll kind of just explore that.
So lost without you. It's just she's so different from other people, and when you're different, sometimes you feel like a mistake. But you make her feel like she's not a mistake at all, like she's better for being different. And that gives her the courage to fight on. If she was mean to you or she seemed like she was pushing you away, it's probably just because she's scared of losing you, just like you're scared of losing her. And if she was going to lose you, I think she'd rather just get it over with quick, like ripping off a Band-Aid. So yeah, Elle needs you, Mike, and she always will. Yeah.
So again, just how he brought it up and just how emotional he was becoming and looking away, just not being able to make that eye contact. There was some internal conflict going on there, and internal conflict really difficult, especially when it comes to identity, sexual identity, just identity in general, and who you're becoming, they're at a pivotal age where you have these different events, these different experiences that are making up and being so pivotal in your adolescence into adulthood and just your development overall. And it's really important to have these talks and really be honest with ourselves of who we're becoming, and unfortunately, it seems like he was kind of pushing that away. It's understandable for, again, the situation they were in. It doesn't make it right, and again, that's ultimately we want to facilitate space, whether you're just trying to be a good human to one another, this world is scary, this world's hard, and so if somebody's trying to figure stuff out of who they are, holding just space for them, you might not understand it, you may not think, but ultimately holding space for them is the kindest thing you can kind of do, and just recognize them, because we all want to be seen in one way or another who we are, and that's ultimately the main thing when it comes to identity. We don't need to be accepted, but ultimately it feels good when we are kind of accepted, being social creatures and all. So just keep that in mind, as people, again, just you want to try to be a safe haven and just, again, be kind and spread positivity when it comes to that, just because it makes individuals not feel so alone. We don't like feeling alone. I don't like feeling alone, and I know a lot of people I've worked with don't like feeling alone. And again, working with identity is the first step, because as Carl Rogers once said, as first we must accept us as who we are, or accept ourselves as we are, and then we can change. And in this sense, it's not so much about changing their sexual identity, but it's more changing how they're perceiving it. So accepting that he is gay and those different feelings and perspectives and just the different things that they're going to implement, they need to accept that, so that way they can recognize and change those different maybe negative thoughts that are happening in their brain, that are kind of coming along with that. So you clearly just saw, again, just the emotion that kind of comes, and just his eyes and just his facial expressions really showing just this intimate, vulnerable state. And again, those feelings run deeper than him just telling his perspective on what he think 11 feels towards Mike. Yeah. So again, that turn away right here, he realizes that he was beginning to talk and share, and he was starting to share, but he still held back. He put kind of those emotions away, and this is the internal conflict. It's going to come out as frustration, sadness, depression, and this is kind of how it's kind of coming out. And he continues to cry, and he just is dealing with this, and his brother again sees it, and he's feeling for him too. It's just the recognition of it was very much clear in this one, and then I thought this was really meaningful, and I thought this was handled really well. And then here, I really like this idea because this is the end of episode 4 in season 5. So if you haven't seen it yet, please click off now and go watch it, because this will be an absolute spoiler. You shouldn't be online if you haven't watched it yet, because there's so many spoilers everywhere. But I love this because it was an overlay of, oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on her name. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. She's literally one of my favorite characters, but I'm so bad with names. Oh my goodness, please. Maya Hawke. Yeah, sorry. Robin. So it's an overlay of Robin's voice, and this one was really good too. I couldn't find a clip of it, but this is again also in season 5, where Robin's having a really one-on-one discussion with Will, and Robin recognizes it because herself, she's also gay in the show. She's a little bit more of accepting of that. She's told a little bit more about that. She tells her co-star Steve Harrington in the show, and it's very meaningful when she does it. I think that was like season 2 or 3, so that was early on too. But she kind of accepted more identity, and she talks about the feeling and the emotion that she got, and being honest with it and allowing space for it, and how powerful that can be. And I love how they kind of the Duffer Brothers and the Stranger Things cast and directors tied it in with a sense of, it seems like Will's finally accepting his feelings for it, and he unlocks a new component that's within him. But I'm going to run it through, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit more about it. So here again, it's flashbacks with Will and Mike, and I think his brother.
And once I did that, I was so free. It's like I could fly.
So back to, like you were saying, the freedom of it, the freedom that comes along with it. And again, just the flashbacks of a simpler time, always wanting to go back, and the identity for, like, that shows the real internal conflict of wanting to go back a simpler time where you didn't have all these mixed emotions, mixed with feelings and thoughts and behaviors and perceptions. Because again, it gets messy as you kind of continue on, you learn new emotions, and again, they're in the pivotal time of development where they're experiencing new emotions, and they don't know what to do with them. So they're trying to tie and make sense of them, but again, they're overwhelming. But here, it seems like he finally accepts it, and then she was saying it's so free, it's so powerful, and then we get to see this part. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Get after it. So again, here he finally has the powers. He's very similar to Vecna. There's that telekinesis power. Vecna's going again, and he starts connecting. But he has a little bit more control over than Vecna does, because Vecna had to do one person at a time. But here, he has multiple. And they're recognizing that it's very similar to what they've seen in the past. There's what they've seen with the other humans when Vecna was going after them. So, yeah, I'm not going to let that run through too bad, but it just goes to show, again, the acceptance of himself and wanting to save because of the love that he has for everybody. It unlocked a new ability for him. And again, that's working with internal conflict. You know, that's parts work to a T, because part of him wanted to exile that part, these thoughts, these feelings, the part that is gay within him, and he wants to hide that part. He doesn't want to show that. He doesn't accept it. So it becomes an exiled part, and then the part that he's trying to play, this friend, this thing, it's shutting out the different parts of him, and that's not accepting. And when there's internal conflict like that, you see more arises, you see more emotion, you see more depression, you see more anger, whatever it may be. You see it, and there's clearly an outlet that comes along with exiled parts of identity, or just the parts where it's just not accepting of oneself. So again, great character in the show. I think it's a great understanding and encapsulation of the idea of struggling with identity. I think they're doing a very good job at it because, again, it's very important to recognize the timeline, what time this takes place, different factors, connection and attraction to Will, but attraction towards Mike, the friend, and Will understanding that it's not really, but he's understanding that Mike is attracted to Eleven, and that's the thing, but that doesn't make his feelings any less real. So again, just that ebb and flow, the internal conflict so big, and that's a huge thing because internal conflict's so big, and we have to be honest with what's going on inside ourselves before we can change. Shout out Carl Rogers. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. Have you seen season 5? What do you think? Is there something else that you recognize that kind of plays into the idea of Will Byers and his identity development? But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if there's any other characters you'd want me to do, maybe from other shows too. I would love to do some of that stuff. But let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you drop a like on this video and make sure you're subscribed as well, because that again helps my channel grow, and we're trying to grow a really cool community. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next video. See you then.